Türkiye launches its new 5-year investment strategy aimed at increasing the country's share of global FDIs. Nigerians take to the streets as the cost of living soars, and the Olympic Games fail to bring a buzz as tourists stay away from Paris. Hello, I'm Taiba Aydin and you're watching Money Talks. Türkiye has revealed its foreign direct investment strategy for the 2024 to 28 period, as it looks to transform from a regional hub into a global economic powerhouse. The outlined plans aim to increase the country's global FDI share to 1.5% and its regional share to 12% by 2028. The strategy highlights Turkey's dynamic economy, strategic location and the world-class infrastructure as key attractors for international investments. It also emphasizes the country's skilled labor force and ongoing improvements in the business environment through reforms and incentives over the past 21 years. In the past 2 decades, Turkey saw a significant rise in FDIs, hosting over 80,000 multinational companies and becoming a regional economic hub for new investments. Joining me in the studio is Ahmet Burak Dağıloğlu, President of the Republic of Turkey's Investment Office. Great to have you with us. Let's talk about Turkey's new investment strategy. What does Turkey want to achieve over the next 5 years?
Thank you. So maybe we can give a kind of history or background of the Turkish success of foreign direct investments into the country. When President Erdogan took the office in 2003, he made a series of reforms, and one of the reforms was changing, liberalizing the FDI law in Turkey. And as a result, in the previous period before 2003, Turkey was attracting 0.2% of the global inflows on an annual basis. And after 2003, up until now, Turkey attracted more than $260 billion of FDI, which means that Turkey is now attracting 1% of the global FDI inflows. So we are, committed to taking this to a further step, and we would like to get 1.5% of the global FDI inflows. So to reach that target, we prepared a roadmap, policy recommendations and action plans to reach that target. So definitely we are committed to attract more international companies and investors to invest in Turkey.
Right, and what policy areas will the new strategy focus on?
So first of all, we defined some priorities for us. Of course, the monetary amount of the investments are important, but we would like to focus on the nature of the investments. We would like to get quality, high quality FDI. So we defined some verticals. First of all, we would like to attract projects for the sustainability targets. So sustainable investments are quite important for us. Secondly, digital transformation is on the agenda of all countries and companies, even for the individuals. So we would like to get more projects on the digital sphere, contributing to our digital transformation, contributing to our digital infrastructure. Thirdly, one of the success stories of Turkey in the last 2 decades under the leadership of President Erdogan is successful integration into the global value chains and moving up the value chain in terms of manufacturing higher value added goods. So we would like to make sure that our integration is continuing and we continue to move up the value chain. So integration to the global value chains is our third vertical. And then we focus on the high quality financial investments. So the financial investments are the private equity funds, venture capital funds, sovereign wealth funds, high net worth individuals or family offices that are investing in Turkish companies, especially Turkish startups who are generating technology, creating technology and exporting their products and services to the globally. And secondly, especially Turkish SMEs, because for their growth, they need growth equity. So we believe that the high quality financial investments can satisfy their needs for the growth equity for both technology perspective and especially the export-oriented companies of Turkey. And then we would like to focus on projects that are generating high quality jobs and that are focusing on the services industries as well. So these are our priority verticals, and to reach that target, we would like to focus on policy areas like improvement of the investment environment. This is definitely for sure. And we would like to focus on a higher level of communication with the investor community globally.
Right, I want to ask you about Turkey's startup scene. After the pandemic, we saw annual increase of investments of around $1.3 billion between 2021 and 23. What makes the scene attractive for global investors?
Maybe to add more on your inputs. Before the pandemic, I think the annual investment into early stage startup ecosystem was around $100 million US. So over 100 million, sometimes in some years 150. So after the pandemic in Turkey, the startups were known globally, and we started having unicorns, means that billion-dollar valuation technology companies. And as you said, on an average year, in some years we attracted even more than 1.6 billion US dollars. But we see that now Turkish startup ecosystem is quite mature, and every year early stage startups are more than $1 billion. So what are the reasons to contributing that? Definitely Turkey is home to successful founders. This is for sure. The talent creates a difference here because Turkey is very well known with its talent capabilities. We have a deep competitive talent pool. And then the geographic location of Turkey creates a big advantage for those startups. And they are able to develop services and products which are competitive globally, because in Turkey it's a sophisticated market, and it's a very good test base for those entrepreneurs to develop a product. And throughout time, Turkey became a kind of regional hub for the funding as well, because now in Turkey we are hosting many venture capital funds that are covering the region, especially Central and Eastern Europe, Northern Africa, and Middle East. So availability of funding is also creating a kind of difference, and this is also adding some more competitive advantage, because especially in the last 5 years, Turkey emerged as a hub for global entrepreneurs. Now international entrepreneurs are coming to Turkey to start their businesses. Even in some international reports and indexes, Turkey, Istanbul is cited as the best location to start a technology venture.
Right, and we're seeing that more and more. International companies are launching their R&D centers here in Turkey. Most recently, Spanish tech company Amadeus, which you attended the opening ceremony of. How is this adding to Turkey's goal of becoming a regional hub for tech investments?
This is also in line with our strategy. As we said, we would like to focus on more higher value added activities of the multinationals. And this has been a strategy for us for a decade. So throughout time, Turkey became a kind of manufacturing hub for many multinationals. And we started a process. We are approaching the multinationals saying that, okay, you have some functions in Turkey like manufacturing, like procurement office. Why don't you establish your R&D and design center in Turkey? Because we are offering very generous incentives for R&D and design center type of investments. And as of now, we know that there are more than 720 multinationals having their R&D activities in Turkey. In Turkey, we offer 2 schemes for the investors. First, you can establish your own independent R&D center, or you can join a technology development zone. We call them as technoparks. So in those, both of entities, there are more than 700 multinationals conducting R&D activities. And actually, the essence again is similar to the technology world. The talent creates this difference. In Turkey, we have very talented people who can develop those technologies.
Right, aside from that, investors are increasingly pouring their money into artificial intelligence. How is Turkey benefiting from this?
First of all, in Turkey, we have a very live technology ecosystem, and there are a number of startups, actually more than 100 startups focusing on AI and AI-related verticals. Of course, AI is a very wide area. It is applicable in many different verticals, industries. And in Turkey, there is a trend to focus on the new agenda of artificial intelligence. And it brings some more opportunities for Turkey, because to run AI, you need infrastructure for that. You need data centers, you need cloud infrastructure. And Turkey, with its unique value proposition, is hosting some international level standard data centers. And there are a number of new projects to establish new data centers within the country.
Right, and you mentioned that Turkey is investing into sustainability. How will this new strategy contribute to green and digitalization transformation efforts?
So actually, up until now, Turkey has played this game very well, because thanks to the vision of President Erdogan, for a long while we committed for renewable energy, for example, because one of the major aspects of the sustainability is related to the green energy. And in Turkey, just to give you some numbers, our installed electricity generation capacity is around 110 gigawatts, and 55% of it is coming from renewables. For example, we have a target as the country to carry our installed capacity to 190 gigawatt by the year 2035, and we would like to have 65% of it from the renewables. So to reach that target, definitely we believe that international investors can play a role. Another important factor, Turkey is not just generating electricity from renewables, but we are also able to manufacture renewable energy systems, especially on the wind and solar side. We are one of the largest manufacturers globally on the sun solar panels, and we are one of the largest in the European region on the wind turbine side. So another important factor is lowering the carbon emission, especially in the logistics. Turkey is committed for electrified mobility and new energy vehicles. We are hosting 8 OEMs in Turkey, and recently a new international OEM announced an investment for EVs. So our agenda to invest in the new mobility, new energy mobility will continue. Especially on the circular economy side, Turkey has a local act which is called as Zero Waste Initiative. So this is a major program for recycling and upcycling of the materials, and we are committed to a zero waste world by in the following years. So all in all, Turkey has a target for year 2053 to be a net zero emission country, and we believe that we can contribute to this target with the investments of the multinationals.
Right, and that brings me to my next question. How will this strategy enhance Turkey's regional competitiveness?
When we define region, maybe it's better to define the region.
Yes.
So in many international, investors' agenda, when they, do site selection around Turkey, they compare Turkey with the countries, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, Northern Africa, and Middle East. And in the last 2 decades, in this geography, Turkey is the second largest country attracting foreign direct investments. And especially in the last 10 years, we are the largest FDI attractor in industrial projects. We are the first in expansion projects. We are the first in agriculture, food and beverages projects. So Turkey is already a competitive country in this region, but we would like to be definitely number 1 player in the region. So we would like to get, up until now, we were getting a little less than 10% of the FDIs in this region in the last 2 decades. We would like to carry it to 12% to be number 1 in the region. So definitely through those policy recommendations, reform areas, and through better promotion and communication, we would like to gain this role.
Okay, Ahmet Burak Dağıloğlu, the President of the Republic of Turkey's Investment Office, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us here in your studio.
Nigerian authorities have urged people not to join the nationwide demonstrations on August 1st, saying it could lead to violence and arrests. Young Nigerians first mobilized the protests on social media to speak out against the soaring cost of living and systemic corruption in Africa's most populous nation. As Timothy Obizu reports, protesters are refusing to back down.
Tagged 10 Days of Rage, Nigerian youths have called for demonstrations to demand accountability and criticize government policies they say have left millions in poverty and without hope.
Nigerians are suffering. People are going through a lot. People are going through traumas. Nigerians are taking their own lives. I came across a video that happened, an incident that took place in Delta State. A matured lady jumped down from a bridge and took her own life.
James Mike is a beautician, but he's popularly known as the Abuja flag boy for his campaigning. He says due to Nigeria's economic crisis, he's unable to pay his shop rent and he's protesting to save his business from collapse.
What we are asking for is for the president to do the needful.
Last year, Nigeria scrapped fuel subsidy payment and sharply devalued the naira, sending food and commodity prices skyrocketing. Nigeria's inflation rate is at its highest level in 28 years. The spiraling cost of living and the climate change crisis are factors preventing farmers growing enough crops. But the Nigerian government is warning against demonstrations. Authorities say the protests could descend into chaos. Organizers are said to have drawn inspiration from events in Kenya sparked by proposed tax hikes and outrage over high-level corruption.
While citizens have a right to peaceful protest, they do not have a right to mobilize for anarchy and unleash terror.
While many here say the Kenyan protests may be a motivating fact, that's not the reason why they want to be out on the streets. They're simply fighting for survival. Human rights lawyer and activist Deji Adeonju says the threat by the government is a smokescreen for possible crackdowns, and that he's working with a coalition of lawyers across the country to offer free legal services to any protester that may be arrested.
They are currently mobilizing to crack down peaceful protesters, that I know. They are also currently massively paying people billions to frustrate their protests. But they are paying the wrong people and they are just wasting their time.
TRT World could not independently verify Adeonju's claims. Recently, the government announced job opportunities with the national oil company NNPC Limited, as well as loans for young people. But many say it is not enough. Timothy Obizu, TRT World, Abuja, Nigeria.
Nigeria is currently facing a complex economic situation marked by rising inflation, significant food price increases, and ongoing structural challenges. Since the new government introduced bold reforms to stabilize the economy, the country has been faced with unprecedented hardship. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was elected last year, he introduced several policies, including the elimination of petrol subsidies and allowing the local currency, the naira, to float. These measures have led to increased costs for fuel and imported goods, contributing to inflationary pressures. However, the reforms aim to stabilize the economy in the long term by attracting foreign investment and improving infrastructure. However, Nigerians are yet to see the benefits of these reforms. The headline inflation rate rose from 33.95% in May to 34.19% in June. This marks a whopping 11.4% increase from June last year. This surge is making it increasingly challenging for Nigerians to afford basic necessities. The cost of staple foods has surged dramatically. The food inflation rate for June was 40.87% compared to 40.6% in May. This is significantly higher than the 25.25% recorded in June 2023. Meanwhile, to mitigate the economic challenges, the Nigerian government has secured a $2.25 billion injection from the World Bank. This funding aims to reduce interest rates, support businesses and enhance revenue. Additionally, new policies are being developed with the help of international experts to drive economic recovery and tackle poverty. Air New Zealand has abandoned its 2030 goal to reduce carbon emissions, citing difficulties in securing more efficient planes and sustainable jet fuel. Tulay Kalyon Haznederoğlu looks into how airlines can remain committed to the industry-wide goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2050.
The aviation industry is a significant contributor to the climate crisis, with airliners accounting for more than 2% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And this week, Air New Zealand dropped its 2030 climate targets, saying it was mission impossible under the current circumstances. Let's take a look at how airlines can clean up their act for a greener future. First of all, people love to fly. The International Air Transport Association predicts that 4 billion passengers will take to the skies in 2024. That's almost back to 2019 pre-pandemic numbers. Emissions from aviation have been growing faster than any other mode of transport. Aviation accounts for 2.5% of global emissions, and it has contributed around 4% to global heating to date. Although carbon emission per kilometre travelled by the average air passenger fell by more than 80% over the past 50 years, the technology and economics make decarbonization extremely hard. Recent reports show $1.19 trillion worth of investment is needed to reduce emissions in the next few years. Air New Zealand has become the first major airline to step back from its climate goals due to challenges in eco-friendly planes and sustainable jet fuel. Other airlines might also struggle with meeting their 2030 climate targets. Despite this, there is hope for future as startups are working on battery-powered prototypes, giving experts optimism.
Picture, if you will, glasses that bring magic to life. Tech giants are still pursuing smart glasses as a way of connecting us in the future. But can they deliver a fresh chapter in our digital journey? Sara Betül Altaş reports.
Imagine a world where your glasses do more than just help you see. They become your phone, your guide, your window to a digital world. Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg thinks that soon more than 1 billion people will upgrade to smart glasses.
Pretty much everyone who's wearing a pair of glasses today that'll get upgraded to smart glasses, and that's like more than 1 billion people in the world, so that's going to be a pretty big thing.
2 years ago, a milestone was reached in wearable tech as Zuckerberg introduced the first generation of smart glasses. The eyewear is powered by Meta's advanced artificial intelligence, making them very smart and adaptive. They can easily connect with other Meta devices, blending the real world with the digital one.
I think the smart glasses are going to be sort of the mobile phone, kind of always-on version of the next computing platform, and the mixed reality headsets are going to be more like your workstation or your game console, where when you're sitting down for a more immersive session and you want access to more compute.
It's like stepping into a world where tech and reality meet, making our daily lives more exciting and connected. These AI-enabled glasses will change how we work, play, and communicate. At a price of around $300, Zuckerberg believes they will attract hundreds of millions of users. The question is, are we ready to see the world through a new lens? Betül Sara Altaş, TRT World.
Paris is experiencing an unexpected calm this summer. The travel boom for the Summer Olympics hasn't happened, leaving the city quieter than usual and businesses grappling with lower than expected visitor numbers. Lara Kılıçaslan has the story.
Did Parisians tell travelers to stay away from the Summer Olympics? Or the hotels and flight ticket prices are so high? Many people, including locals, are avoiding Paris, despite expectations of a travel surge, as is usually the case with cities that host the Olympic Games. An aviation intelligence official says that hasn't happened.
Since the beginning of June, it started to get slower, and July is worse because I think there's a lot of less tourists of all the countries. American, but all the countries. I think they are avoiding the France and Paris because they're afraid of the Olympics or the traffic or whatever.
Paris now finds itself unexpectedly quiet, as officials note a significant drop in air travel. Air France announced that traffic to Paris has fallen behind other major European cities. The company also reported declining interest, with international markets showing significant avoidance of the city. And French authorities say arrivals are down 8% in June and nearly 15% in July compared to last year.
I think it's about 30% down from last year. And for the US customer, I think it's about 40% less than last year.
Hotels in Paris are also facing a quiet summer. The tourism board predicts that occupancy rates will drop to 60% in July. Just like the airlines, many hotels raised their rates, hoping to benefit from an expected tourism boom. But they had to lower their prices after a slow spring with fewer bookings. This slowdown has forced businesses to rethink their strategies for the changing travel market.
We can still the destination can still hope for last-minute bookings. That's something we'll keep a close eye on. So I think all in all, the games will have had a positive impact on travel to Paris. But at the moment, we're really in this period when the Parisians, the tourism professionals in the French capital, have seen the negative impacts of the games, and they're still waiting for the positive impact.
As Paris waits for a last-minute surge in bookings, the impact of the Summer Olympics on travel remains uncertain. But local businesses are seeking new ways to attract visitors during the Games. The city may still see benefits from the Olympics, but for now, it's facing a quieter summer than planned. Lara Kılıçarslan, TRT World.
And if you have any stories you'd like our reporters to look into or any questions for our experts, you can reach out to us on X at TRT Money Talks. Well, that is all from Money Talks for now. From me and the whole team here in Istanbul, thanks for watching.